Hello, everyone. My name is Liba, and today I want to talk about learning English. English has helped me a lot. It helped me meet new people and dream bigger. When I started, I was scared. I didn't know many words and my accent was different. But I kept going. Step by step, I got better, just like a baby learning to walk. I fell many times, but I stood up again. Maybe you feel the same. Maybe you're shy or afraid to make mistakes. But remember, mistakes help us learn. If we never try, we can't improve. Speaking in English is like learning to swim. At first, the water is deep, and you might be scared. But after jumping in, it feels better. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Listening to English is a great way to learn. It helps you get used to the sound. You will learn new words without even trying. It's like listening to music. The more you listen, the more you understand. Another way to practice is by speaking with friends or by yourself. I often talk to myself in English. It may seem silly, but it helps me. You don't need to know big words to speak well. Simple words work. Just try to say what you want, even if it's not perfect. People will understand, and over time, you will learn more words. When I was learning, I was afraid people would laugh at me, but I kept speaking, and people were kind. They didn't laugh. They helped me. If you feel nervous, it's okay. It's normal to feel this way. Just take a deep breath, smile, and speak. The more you speak, the easier it gets. Reading out loud also helps. It helps your brain get used to words. The more you read, the stronger your English becomes. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you don't know how to say something, ask someone. We all need help sometimes, and asking questions is a way to learn. Believe in yourself. If you think, I can't do this, it will be hard. But if you say, I can learn this, you will improve. Learning English is like climbing a mountain. You don't get to the top in one big step. You take one step at a time. Slowly, you will get better. Speak as much as you can. Don't worry about mistakes. Just speak. Learning English is like planting a tree. You water it every day, and it grows. One day, you will see how strong it has become. You will be proud. The most important thing is to keep going. Don't stop trying. Keep speaking. And one day you will say, I did it. I remember the first time I spoke in English. I was nervous, but I spoke anyway. I made mistakes, but I was proud because I tried. Speaking English is not about being perfect. It's about being brave. Every time you speak, you get better. If you don't use your English, it stays weak. But the more you speak, the stronger it gets. When I started, I watched TV shows and movies in English. I didn't understand much, but I kept watching. I learned how people talk and use their voices. Speaking English is not just about words. It's about feelings, too. When you talk, show your feelings. Smile when you're happy, frown when you're confused, and use your hands. Language is not only about words, it's about sharing how you feel. Sometimes you may feel stuck. You may think, I'm not improving. This is normal. Learning takes time, but keep going, even when it feels slow. I helped myself by setting small goals. Each day, I focused on one thing. One day I learned new words. Another day I practiced pronunciation. Little by little, I got better. Celebrate your progress. When you learn a new word, take a moment to be proud. Writing in English helped me too. I wrote a few sentences every day. It helped me think in English. Try it. Also, try to think in English when you speak. At first, you may translate from your language to English, but with practice, you'll think in English naturally. It's like learning to dance. At first, you think about each step, but later, it becomes easy. Lastly, find friends who want to practice English too. You can meet and speak only in English. It's a fun way to practice. Keep going. Keep speaking. You'll get better, and one day, you will be proud of yourself. Chapter 2. When I started learning English, I was not very confident. I was afraid to speak in front of people. I thought, what if I make a mistake? But I learned that making mistakes is okay. Everyone makes mistakes when they learn something new. It is part of the process. Mistakes are like stepping stones. They help you move forward. I remember when I first tried to talk to someone in English. My heart was beating fast. My hands were sweaty. I was worried that they would not understand me. But I spoke anyway. I said a few words and the person smiled and replied. That made me feel good. It showed me that people are kind and they are happy when you try. The first time you speak in English can feel scary, but once you do it, you will feel proud. It gets easier each time you try. And even if you make mistakes, people will still understand you. They won't laugh at you. Most of the time, they will help you. So, don't be afraid to speak. One thing that helped me was speaking with people who were learning English too. We practiced together, and we made mistakes together. This made me feel comfortable. It was nice to know that I was not alone in making mistakes. We laughed and learned together. It helped me build my confidence. At the beginning, I didn't know many words. I knew basic words like hello and thank you. But I wanted to learn more. So I started listening to English songs and watching English movies. At first, I couldn't understand everything, but I didn't stop. I kept listening, even when I didn't know all the words. Slowly, I began to understand more. I started to pick up new words and phrases. This helped me a lot. Another thing I did was write in English every day. I started small. At first, I would write 1 or 2 sentences. It didn't matter if the sentences were simple. The important thing was that I was practicing. Over time, I could write more. Writing helped me think in English. It also helped me see how much I had learned. If you want to get better at speaking, you have to practice a lot. Practice is the key. The more you speak, the better you get. You don't need to wait until you know everything. You can start now. Don't be afraid to speak, even if you don't know all the words. It's okay to use simple words. The important thing is to keep trying. You can practice by speaking with friends, with family, or even by yourself. I used to talk to myself in English. It may sound strange, but it helped me. I would imagine I was talking to someone and have a conversation in my mind. I would ask myself questions and answer them. This helped me get more comfortable with speaking. Also, don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. It takes time. If you don't know a word, try to figure it out from the other words around it. If you don't understand something, ask. It's okay to ask questions. People will be happy to help you. I also learned that it's important to listen to English every day. It's like learning how to play an instrument. You practice every day, and you get better. So, try to listen to English songs, watch movies, or even listen to podcasts. It will help you improve your English. Even if you don't understand everything, you are still learning. Your brain is getting used to the sounds of English. Another thing that helped me was reading in English. I started with easy books. I didn't understand everything, but I kept reading. Over time, I could understand more. Reading helped me learn new words and sentence structures. It also helped me improve my grammar. So, read as much as you can. Start with simple books or articles, and then move to harder ones as you improve. Sometimes, learning English can feel slow, but that's okay. It takes time to learn a language. The important thing is not to give up. Even if you feel like you're not improving, remember that you are. You are moving forward little by little. One day, you will look back and see how much you have learned. You will be amazed at how far you've come. So, don't stop. Keep practicing. Keep speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Every day is a new opportunity to learn and get better. When you feel like giving up, remember why you started. Learning English will open new doors for you. It will help you meet new people, get new opportunities, and understand the world better. It's worth the effort. Every time you speak, you are one step closer to becoming better at English. Don't let fear stop you. Keep trying. Keep practicing. Every small step is progress. And one day, you will look at yourself and be proud of how far you've come. So, keep going. Keep learning. The more you practice, the better you will get. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. With each mistake, you learn something new. And one day, you will be speaking English confidently and easily. Just keep practicing, and you will get there. Chapter 3. When I first started learning English, I thought it would be hard forever. But after some time, I began to notice small changes. My confidence grew. I could say more things in English, even though I still made mistakes. The more I spoke, the easier it became. One day, I realized that I could understand more of what people were saying. I could follow the conversations in movies and TV shows. At first, I only understood a few words, but later, I could understand whole sentences. This made me so happy. It showed me that I was improving. The key to learning is practice. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first, you fall a lot. But as you keep trying, you get better and better. When I first started speaking in English, I was scared to make mistakes. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. But I learned that mistakes are not something to be afraid of. They are part of learning. If you never make mistakes, you will never learn. Sometimes, you may feel frustrated. You may feel like you are not improving. That happened to me too. But I kept practicing. And little by little, I started to feel more comfortable. The more you speak, the easier it gets. I practiced with friends and family. I also practiced by myself. Talking to yourself in English may feel strange, but it helps. If you don't know a word, try to explain it in another way. If you can't remember the right word, use simple words. For example, If you don't know the word delicious, you can say, "It tastes very good." You don't have to use big words to speak well. Simple words are enough. The important thing is to keep speaking and practicing. When I was learning, I also listened to English podcasts and watched YouTube videos. It helped me get used to hearing English. I didn't understand everything at first, but I didn't give up. Every day, I learned something new, and over time, I began to understand more. Listening to English is important. It helps you learn new words and see how people speak in real life. I also made a habit of reading in English. At first, I read simple books. Slowly, I moved to harder books. Reading helped me learn new words and practice my grammar. It also helped me understand how sentences are made in English. The more you read, the better you get. It's also a good idea to write in English every day. Start with simple sentences. Keep a journal and write about your day. It doesn't matter if your sentences are short. The important thing is to practice. When I first started writing in English, I made many mistakes, but I kept writing every day. I also read what I wrote and tried to find mistakes. This helped me get better. Don't worry about making mistakes in writing. The more you write, the more you learn. It's okay if you don't know everything. The more you practice, the better you will get. Sometimes, when I didn't understand something, I asked my friends or teachers for help. If you don't know how to say something, ask. It's okay to ask for help. Everyone learns at their own speed. Some people may learn faster than others, but that's okay. We all learn in different ways. What matters is that you keep trying. One important thing I learned is that learning a language takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but with patience and practice, you will improve. You don't need to know everything at once. Focus on learning one thing at a time. Maybe today, you focus on learning new words. Tomorrow, you practice your pronunciation. The next day, you practice speaking. Little by little, you will get better. Don't be afraid of making mistakes when you speak. If you make a mistake, people will still understand you. They will not laugh at you. Most of the time, they will be happy that you are trying. If you don't know a word, use another word instead. People will understand. If you are not sure about something, ask. Another tip is to set small goals. I used to set goals for myself every day. I would tell myself, today I will learn 5 new words. Or, today I will speak in English for 10 minutes. Setting small goals helps you stay on track. It also helps you see how much you have learned. Sometimes it's easy to get discouraged. But when you feel like giving up, remember why you started. Think about how far you've come. Even if it's just a little, you are moving forward. The most important thing is to keep going. Don't stop trying. I remember how hard it was in the beginning. But looking back now, I see how much I have improved. I can speak more easily, and I understand more. Learning English is a journey. There will be times when you feel stuck, but you will keep going. And one day, you will look back and be amazed at how far you've come. The key to learning English is not to give up. Even if you feel like you are not getting better, you are. Every time you speak, listen, read, or write, you are improving. So, keep going. You will get better, little by little. And one day, you will be proud of how far you've come. Chapter 4. Learning English was not always easy, but it was always worth it. I had days when I felt like giving up. Some days, I felt like I wasn't improving, but I kept going. I reminded myself that every little step mattered. Even if I didn't see big changes right away, I was still learning. One of the most important things I learned was that learning a language takes time. It's like planting a tree. When you plant a seed, it doesn't grow into a tree overnight. It takes time, care, and patience. The same is true for learning English. Every day you practice, you are growing your language skills, even if you can't see it right away. I started to make small goals for myself. I would tell myself, today, I will learn 10 new words, or I will speak in English for 15 minutes. These small goals helped me stay focused. They also made me feel proud when I reached them. It felt good to see that I was improving, even in small ways. One thing that really helped me was speaking with people. It's scary at first, but the more you practice, the better you get. At first, I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't always know the right word or the right way to say something, but the important thing was that I spoke. Every time I spoke, I got better. People were kind. They helped me when I didn't know something. I also started listening to English every day. At first, I didn't understand everything I heard, but I didn't give up. I listened to songs, podcasts, and watched TV shows in English. The more I listened, the more I understood. Listening helped me learn how words sound and how people use them in real life. When you listen to English, you start to hear the words and phrases more clearly. Even if you don't understand everything, keep listening. Over time, it will make sense. You will start to pick up new words and phrases. This will help you speak better too. Another thing I did was read in English. I began with easy books. I didn't understand everything at first, but I kept reading. Little by little, I understood more. Reading helped me learn new words, and it also helped me understand how sentences are built. It helped me improve my grammar too. Writing was another way I practiced. I started writing in a journal every day. I didn't write long stories at first. I just wrote about my day in simple sentences. Writing helped me think in English. The more I wrote, the better I got at putting sentences together. One day I realized that I could write longer sentences. I could tell a short story or explain something in English. It felt amazing to see how far I had come, but it didn't happen overnight. It happened because I practiced every day, even when I didn't feel like it. Another thing that helped me was practicing speaking with a language partner. I found someone who was also learning English, and we practiced together. We would speak only in English during our meetings. This helped me feel more comfortable speaking. It also gave me a chance to practice new words and phrases. Don't be afraid to make mistakes when you speak. It's okay to make mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. If you don't understand something, ask. People will help you. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. Sometimes, I would feel frustrated because I wanted to speak perfectly, but I couldn't. I wanted to know every word, every rule, but it wasn't possible. I learned that it's okay not to be perfect. The important thing is to keep trying. You don't need to speak perfectly to communicate. You just need to keep going, even when it's hard. One thing I did to improve my speaking was to repeat what I heard. If I heard a sentence or phrase in a movie or song, I would repeat it. I would say it out loud, just like the person in the movie. This helped me improve my pronunciation and remember new words. It's also helpful to focus on one thing at a time. If you're learning new words, focus on learning a few words each day. If you're working on your speaking, focus on speaking more. If you're reading, focus on understanding the words. When you focus on one thing, it's easier to improve. One of the best ways to learn English is to surround yourself with it. Listen to English, read in English, and speak as much as you can. The more you are around the language, the more you will learn. Don't wait for the perfect time to start. Start now. If you make mistakes, don't worry. It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. What matters is that you keep going. Keep practicing. Keep speaking. The more you practice, the better you will get. I remember the first time I had a full conversation in English. I was nervous, but I kept going. Even though I made mistakes, I was proud of myself. I realized that it wasn't about speaking perfectly. It was about communicating and trying. Learning English can be hard, but it's also fun. The more you learn, the more you will be able to do. You can talk to new people, watch movies without subtitles, and read books in English. Every little bit of progress is a big achievement. Keep practicing. Keep learning. Don't give up. It will take time, but you will get better. And one day, you will look back and see how much you have learned. You will be proud of yourself. Chapter 5. Learning English is like learning to ride a bike. At first, it feels difficult, but over time, it becomes easier. You start to feel more confident, and soon it feels natural. Every time you practice, you become better. But sometimes, it's easy to forget that small steps lead to big changes. I had days when I didn't want to practice. I felt tired or busy, and I thought, I don't need to practice today. But I realized that even on those days, a little practice helps. Even if it's just 10 minutes, it still makes a difference. If you keep practicing even a little, you will keep improving. One important thing I learned was to enjoy the process. It's easy to get frustrated when you don't see results right away. But learning a language takes time, and you should be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small steps. Celebrate when you learn a new word or when you can understand more in a movie. Every step counts. Sometimes I would listen to English music or podcasts, even when I was doing other things. It helped me get used to the language. At first, I didn't understand all the words, but I started picking up more. Listening helped me understand the flow of the language. It helped me get used to how words are spoken. One day, I realized that I could understand the song lyrics better. I was happy because it showed that I was improving. Listening to music or podcasts is a fun way to practice. You don't always have to sit down and study. You can listen while you walk, cook, or relax. The more you listen, the better you get at understanding. Reading also helped me improve. I started with simple books and stories. I didn't know all the words, but I kept going. If I didn't understand a word, I tried to guess its meaning from the context. Sometimes, I looked up the word in a dictionary. Little by little, I learned new words. The more I read, the better I became at understanding English. As I read, I also worked on my writing. Writing helped me practice what I was learning. Every day, I would write a few sentences about my day. It didn't have to be perfect. The important thing was to keep writing. Writing helped me remember words and improve my grammar. When I made a mistake, I corrected it, and that helped me learn. Sometimes I didn't feel like writing. It felt like a lot of work. But I remembered that every time I wrote, I was getting better. And even if it wasn't perfect, I was still learning. If you feel the same way, try not to worry about mistakes. Just focus on writing. Over time, your writing will improve. Another way I practiced was by speaking. I would practice speaking to myself in English. At first, it felt strange, but I didn't mind. Speaking helped me practice the words I learned. It helped me feel more comfortable when I spoke to other people. I also practiced with friends who were learning English. We would talk in English, and it helped both of us. When you speak, you will make mistakes. But don't worry about that. It's normal. When I spoke, I was afraid people would laugh at me, but they didn't. They were happy that I was trying, and the more I spoke, the more confident I became. Now, I can talk to people in English without being afraid. The more you speak, the more confident you will feel. It's also important to listen to others when they speak. Pay attention to how people use words. Listen to their tone of voice and how they say things. This will help you understand how English sounds in real conversations. It will help you speak more naturally, too. One time I was talking to a friend, and I didn't know how to say something, but instead of being quiet, I asked. I said, "How do you say this in English?" My friend helped me and I learned a new word. Asking for help is okay. It's better to ask than to stay quiet. People are usually happy to help you. Another way to learn is by watching movies or TV shows in English. Start with subtitles if you need them. As you watch, try to understand what they are saying. Over time, you will need fewer subtitles. Watching movies helps you learn new words and phrases. It also teaches you how people speak in real life. Movies show you how people talk in different situations, like at the store, at work, or with friends. If you're scared to speak, remember that everyone starts somewhere. I was scared too. I worried that people would think I was not good at English. But I realized that it's okay to make mistakes. People don't expect you to be perfect. They just want to understand you. So speak as much as you can. The more you speak, the easier it will get. Sometimes I felt frustrated when I didn't know the right word. But then I learned that it's okay to use simpler words. You don't always need big, difficult words to speak well. Simple words work just as well. Don't be afraid to speak. The important thing is to try. The journey to learning English is not always easy. There will be times when you feel stuck or frustrated, but don't give up. Every time you try, you are improving. It's like building a wall, one brick at a time. Every word you learn, every sentence you speak, is a brick that makes your English stronger. Keep going. Keep practicing. Even when it feels hard, remember that you are getting better. Little by little, you will see the progress. Soon, you'll be able to speak more easily. You'll understand more. And you will be proud of how far you've come. Chapter 6. Every day is a new chance to learn. When I first started speaking English, I was nervous. I made many mistakes, and sometimes I felt embarrassed. But with every mistake, I got better. Mistakes are not bad. They help you learn. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. So don't be afraid to make them. In the beginning, I didn't know many words, but I didn't let that stop me. I learned new words every day. I wrote them down in a notebook. I practiced saying them out loud. This helped me remember them better. The more words I learned, the easier it was to speak. It's important to learn words in groups. For example, if you learn the word apple, learn the words fruit, tree, green, and red, too. This way, you can use many words in one sentence. It's easier to remember them when they are related. You can practice speaking by making simple sentences with the new words. One day, I was able to say a sentence in English without thinking too much. That was a big moment for me. I had practiced a lot, and I could see the progress. It made me happy to see how far I had come. You will have these moments too, when you can speak easily. They may come slowly, but they will come. Listening is just as important as speaking. In the beginning, I didn't understand everything when I listened to English, but I didn't give up. I listened to songs, movies, and podcasts. Sometimes I didn't know what they were saying, but I kept listening. Slowly, I started to understand more. It's like training your ears. The more you listen, the better you understand. If you don't understand something, it's okay. Don't feel bad. You can always listen again. And if you don't understand a word, try to guess its meaning. You can also look it up later. The important thing is to keep listening. The more you do, the better you will become. Watching movies or TV shows in English was another way I learned. At first, I needed subtitles, but soon I started to understand without them. It felt amazing when I could follow the story in English. Movies and shows help you learn how people really speak. You can hear different accents and expressions. It's a fun way to learn. When I spoke with people, I learned so much. I was nervous, but I knew I had to practice. I talked to friends, family, and even strangers. They were kind and helped me when I made mistakes. I learned new words and phrases by talking to them. Sometimes they corrected me, and that helped me improve. Don't be afraid to talk to people. They want to help you. I also practiced speaking with myself. It felt funny at first, but it helped me a lot. I would say things out loud like, "I am learning English," or "This is a good day." It helped me get used to speaking English. The more I practiced, the better I got. Even if there was no one around, I still practiced. It made me feel more confident. Don't worry if you don't speak perfectly. When I started, I didn't speak perfectly either. But the more I spoke, the more I improved. People don't care if your English is not perfect. They care that you are trying. And when you try, you learn. The most important thing is to speak. The more you do, the better you will get. Sometimes I felt frustrated when I couldn't say what I wanted to, but I remembered that learning takes time. It's like building a muscle. At first, it's weak, but the more you practice, the stronger it gets. Your English is the same. Keep practicing, and it will get stronger. One of the best ways to learn is by reading. I started reading simple books and stories. They were easy at first, but they helped me understand how sentences are built. I didn't know every word, but I learned as I went. When I found a word I didn't know, I looked it up. Over time, I read faster and understood more. Reading is also good for your vocabulary. Every time you read, you find new words. You can make a list of the new words and practice saying them. Reading helps you get used to how English works. It also helps you learn more about the culture. The more you read, the more you understand the language and the world around you. Writing was another way I practiced. I started writing simple sentences about my day. At first, it was hard, but I kept going. I didn't worry about making mistakes. The important thing was to write. Writing helped me remember words and practice grammar. It helped me put everything together. Little by little, I improved. When you write, try to think in English. At first, it's hard because you might think in your own language first. But over time, you will be able to think in English too. It's like learning to ride a bike. In the beginning, it's hard, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. Every time I learned something new, I celebrated. It could be a new word, a new sentence, or a new skill. Celebrating helps you remember that you are improving. You might not see big changes every day, but over time, you will see how much you have learned. Don't forget to give yourself credit for every small achievement. Learning English is a journey. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Every time you speak, listen, read, or write, you are getting better. Keep practicing and don't give up. You will get better step by step. One day you will look back and see how far you've come.